Hey YouTube, welcome to Vintage on Vintage. This is my first ever YouTube video. Just a little quick background for me. I was born in 1960, tail end of 60, so that's hence the vintage part of Vintage on Vintage. I'm older than most of the cards I'll share with you. But I had a love for cards all growing up, so I collected them well into high school. And then again during the junk wax era, and then I took some time off when I raised a family. And then, like a lot of you, I during COVID, right, I kind of got back into looking at cards, and I went online, and in addition to the cards, I found out there's this great community out there, and I had a lot of videos and people that make videos that I enjoy watching. And I thought I'd try to share some of my cards with you guys and some of my experiences. So what I'm going to share with you today is some cards I got for Christmas and my birthday. So once again, I was born in late December, 2 days after Christmas. So these are what I asked for this year were cards, and I've got 15 nice cards that I want to share with you, starting with this one right here. This is the second year Alcindor Card, and it's a little it's a little worn, I'll be honest with you. The corners are pretty beat up and it's off center, but once again, he's it's a second year Alcindor, and he's arguably, if not the best, one of the best players to ever play the game, and a fan favorite of mine. Growing up in Southern California, I hated him when with the Bucks, but I loved him when he was a Laker. So next card I want to share is this 1971 Ted Simmons, and the 71 set to me is one of my favorite sets of all time. I love this set. It's one of the first ones I remember having as a kid. The other thing about it is, as everybody knows, it's hard to collect in good shape. So I've got quite a few of them. This one is a pretty sweet card. You can see it's a little off center left to right, and I get that. But the corners are pretty good, and it's a nice card. So I'm happy to add this one to my collection. This is a 1970 Reggie Jackson, so his second year card. This is a pretty sweet card, pretty well centered. It's got a little bit of a nick down here in this corner. I don't know if you can see that, but all said, it's a pretty nice card. I mean, Reggie's one of my favorite players growing up. Everybody loved Reggie Jackson, so and to get a second year Jackson is a good thing. Next card up is a 1966 Don Drysdale. So I'm a big Dodger fan, although I live in the Midwest now. I grew up, I'm a huge Dodger fan. Drysdale was a great pitcher for the Dodgers. This is a really sweet card if you look at it. I think it's really well centered. I think the pitcher shows really well on it. And so I was excited to grab this, add this one to the collection. Staying with 1965, I've got a Brooks Robinson here, a nice Brooks Robinson. Once again, this one's really well centered, I believe. The corners are a little soft, but it's a good looking card. Really happy to have this card. A pretty clean card, so I was excited to pick this one up. And the last one, or the next one, I'm sorry, not the last one, in the 1965 is this Tony Oliva. And this is his second year card, right? The Gold Cup. And I picked this one up while I was shopping. I picked it up right before he got into the Hall of Fame, about 2 to 3 weeks before he was elected into the Hall of Fame. He's a great player, a good hitter, really good, solid hitter. I thought he was always deserving of the Hall of Fame, and I love the card. I picked it up, and then a couple weeks later, he gets into the Hall of Fame. So that's a little icing on the cake. Here is a 65 Roberto Clemente, which this card, is really good shape. If you look at the centering, it's solid. The corners are pretty good. Centering in the back's not quite as good as it is in the front, but it's a really nice card of Clemente. And Clemente is probably my second favorite player of all time. Love Roberto Clemente. Big Henry Aaron fan, favorite player of all time. Second favorite player would be this guy, Clemente. So I try to collect as much Clemente and Aaron as I can. And I love this card. Glad to have added this one to the PC. The next two cards I picked up, I got at one of our at an LCS near me. I picked up this 1960 Harman Killebrew. It's in pretty good shape, centered well. little worn on the edges, but for a 1960, I mean, what can you expect? But yeah, Killebrew was a good player, great hitter. One of the first players I remember looking at a baseball card and seeing how good of a hitter he was. Next up is 1960 Clemente, which once again, I love Clemente. This card, you know, it's not a high-end card, but it's centering, as you can see, a little off left to right, but it's still a pretty nice card for a 1960, and it's a Clemente, and for the price I got it for, it was a steal. Back's got a little bit of wear and tear, as you can see on it, but I'm really happy to add this card. This next one is my 72 Clemente, and this card is one of my favorite cards of all time. I just love the picture with him holding the ball, tossing the ball. I love the color scheme of this one. I mean, and I love this card. As a kid, I had this card and it was in my room, and I don't know, it was either left out, but my mom had picked it up and she had put it on a tack board and put a thumbtack through it. I still have that one. It's a really nice card. Unfortunately, it has a hole in it from a thumbtack. So I picked this one up because I've wanted it for a number of years, and this was a good price. It's really well centered, little off left to right, as you can see in the back. But you know, when you look at the front, the corners, the picture, this is a really nice card, and I'm excited to have that one. Here's a Henry Aaron that I added to the collection. This Aaron's a 67, not a high end, as you can see. It's not centered perfectly, and its corners are a little soft, but still a pretty good picture of Aaron, and another nice card to add into the collection. I'm trying to get as many Aarons as I can. Finally, a 1959 Frank Robinson. So this Frank Robinson is it's in pretty good shape. Corners are a little beat up, but as you can see, the centering's not too bad. Frank Robinson, underrated player, right? You think of the 60s. In the National League, you had Clemente, Aaron, and Mays, and when Robinson was there, I don't think he got as much credit as he should. But he was a Triple Crown winner. He MVP in both leagues, and an all-time great ball player. Picked up this 1960 Yaz at an LCS shop, and this card, it looks beautiful, right? It's centered pretty well, a little off left to right, but the color's really nice on this card. Now, when I bought it, the guy told me he felt it might have had a little water damage, might be a little warped. So when you turn it over, you can see the back is it's a little faded, a little damaged, but the front of this card is beautiful, and for the price I picked it up for, I just couldn't walk away from it. So to get my hands on a 1960 Yastrzemski rookie card, I don't care. It's going to be in my PC. I love the card. Eventually, I'll probably get it slabbed just because I like it so much. Next card is the 69 bench. The 69 set's another one of my favorite sets, and mostly because it's one of the first sets I remember collecting, but also there's just something about the way it looks, the simplicity of it that I like. This is Bench's first solo card, right? It's the year after his rookie card. And this is a pretty decent card. It's, centering's not bad. It's, it's got some corner issues. I mean, this isn't by any means a high end, but it's a nice mid-grade card of a second-year bench, so I'm really happy to have added that one in. And I've got two more cards here. This second to last card I'm going to share with you is this 1966 Rose. And, Pete Rose is he's a Hall of Famer. He should be in the Hall of Fame, right? He's not, but we all know he should be. This card is really nice picture, and it's well centered. And the corners aren't too bad. There's a little wear and tear, but they're not too bad, right? This is a nice card. The back presents really well, so I was happy to grab this Rose and add it to the collection. And then finally, this is the one I'm really excited about, and it's the 66 Mantle. And the reason, right? This is the first Mickey Mantle I've ever owned, right? Even as a kid, right, growing up, when I was in high school, and mantles were starting to get pretty expensive back then, and then they've continued to hold their value. So this is the first mantle I've picked up pretty excited about it just because I think the centering's solid on this card. You know, it's a little off, but not bad. The corners, you know, you've got a little bit of a wear and tear on each of the on some of the corners, but all said, you know, it's a beautiful card. When you flip it over the back, you know, it looks really, really nice. So I'm excited to have this one, and eventually, you know, I will send this in to be graded. And then the last thing I wanted to share with you is, you know, that was my birthday and Christmas haul, and I also got this. I got those wax packs, just the vintage 70s one. I've seen people rip this before. Thought I'd like to rip it. I picked it up. I've been holding on to it for a while. I think the next time I talk to you, I'll be ripping this one. But you know, until then, you know, I just wanted to say thanks for watching. Hopefully, hopefully you get some enjoyment out of this, and you know, at the end of the day, hopefully I get better at doing this. But hopefully you can enjoy it. You enjoyed watching this. I can share some cards with you. Until then, right? Be safe and continue collecting. Thanks.